That's probably not a positive thing. All right. I've never liked sitting through wedding ceremonies wondering if or when it will ever end, so I thought for your benefit I'd give you guys a quick itinerary of what we got planned. Today's ceremony, and so everyone's clear, I personally had nothing to do with the order. This is all Emily's wish. Everything I'm about to describe is exactly what she wanted. All right. First off, we had the procession already. Next, Emily has set aside 3 hours for my opening remarks. I think there's a small chance I'll be able to complete them in that limited time frame. After that, we'll move on to vows. You guys are going to have to hold hands for a long time. Aaron and Emily have prepared vows for each other's kids as well as for one another. After the vows are done, it's back to me, and Emily's asked that I deliver another quick 1-hour message. Finally, Emily and Aaron had planned a kiss for near the end, but I've made a slight change to that. The kiss will be replaced with a quick hug. After that, we'll have the recessional and move on to the drinking that is the real reason most of you attended today. So with that, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are gathered here because these two shitheads want to make it official. Today we will witness Aaron and Emily commit themselves to what will assuredly be one of two outcomes. Either these two will begin a wonderful life together, or the more likely outcome, a few years of happiness followed by months of boredom, which will lead to the start of endless fighting, all of which will culminate in a bitter and miserable divorce. Why are you shaking your head, Josh? Before we get started, I should introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. I'm Nick Etheridge, and in addition to being Emily's brother, I'm a newly ordained minister. I've been through a long and spiritual journey in order to be here today. I think of the amount of work that I put in, I think that proves that no one's as committed to these two as I am. My journey began with a lot of research. I Googled, how do you become ordained? After that, I realized this would not be easy. In order to be ordained, I had to provide my chosen church, which just so happened to be the first one Google offered. I provided them the most personal details of my life. They asked me tough questions like, what's your name? What's your email address? Which state do you live in? After I answered those and gave the church $29, you owe me $30 worth of drinks tonight. After I did those things, I was able to print my minister's certificate. I look back on that process and realize I did the hard work to earn the right to officiate this wedding. Truly, I've been to hell and back, and I dedicated nearly 3 minutes of my life so I could be the moral authority here today. So now I'm ready. Let's go. As I sat and pondered what I should say today, I considered talking to Aaron and Emily and see what kind of message they hope to hear from me. But then I remembered something important, and that was today is really all about me. So I've decided to offer a message that fits Nick's style. My message will not be filled with all that emotional or romantic nonsense that most weddings shoot for. You guys will do enough of that on your own. What we're really doing here today is sending these two off on a journey together, and we all know the road is going to be rough. We must equip these two with the tools necessary to survive the hell they're entering into. I'm already worried for them because, let's face it, with both of these two, the toolbox is pretty much empty. First off, I think it's obvious that they both lack good judgment. The fact that I'm standing up here today proves how little sense these guys have. The idea for me to marry Aaron and Emily today was born somewhere around closing time in a bar in Cascade. When I woke up the next day, I realized how foolish of an idea this was, and I was certain they'd sober up and decide to have a proper officiant, but apparently they never did. Another thing we discussed that night was having shots in the middle of the ceremony. But I realized if we actually did that, we'd look like white trash. And I don't know if that, well, maybe that does represent us. So.
Okay. Oh, goodness. I love him.
If you guys make it a whole life, this will be So back to the tools they're gonna need. I know my sister well enough to know that there's little hope for her. Every time I've tried to influence her in the past, she does the exact opposite. The only hope I have lies with you, Aaron. If Aaron can be prepared for the vast number of flaws that Emily possesses, then maybe we have a chance. It goes without saying that we don't have time to go through each of Emily's shortcomings. We'll get a few of them, but like I said, I only have 3 hours. But I want to offer up for Erin's benefit a couple of her biggest flaws. As Emily's brother and someone who lived in the same household as her for many years, I've seen the worst side of Emily on multiple occasions. Now, it is possible that you're aware of some of these things, Erin. After all, you two have been living in sin together for the last year. Personally, I don't really have a problem with that, but the minister side of me is fairly upset about it. I also know that Emily's deceitful, and she probably covered up her worst traits until she could con you into this day. So I think these things need to be said. So on that note, number one, Erin, there's really no delicate way for me to say this, so I'll just come straight out with it. To put it bluntly, Emily is a vicious liar. Be prepared for this, Erin. Erin will make you promises, Emily will make you promises and never come through. I'll provide an example. When we were little, it was just the two of us, and both of us wished we had another sibling. Emily wanted a little sister, and of course I wanted a brother. Julia hadn't been born yet, and so Emily came up with a con job to fulfill her need for a female companion. Emily came up with an idea. She would innocently propose to me that we play a little game she called Sisters. In this game, I would pretend to be female for hours. I talked with a high-pitched voice, we played with dolls, and I'd comb Emily's hair. At the end of this game, Emily had assured me that it would all pay off for me when she would take part in a game of brothers. Emily conned me into playing Sisters dozens of times, but never once lived up to her end of the bargain. Each round of Sisters ended the same. Emily would retreat to her room for a nap, and I would walk outside with tears in my eyes to play another game of basketball with my imaginary friend Pete. So the lesson for you, Erin, is quite simple. Don't ever believe a word Emily says, and don't ever let her con you into a game of Sisters. The last thing you need to know, Erin, is that Emily will do what she can to cause you pain. And then she'll take delight in watching you suffer through it. Another story. When we were growing up, soda pop was like liquid gold in our house. Nothing could get a child in trouble faster than unauthorized consumption of a carbonated beverage. One night, Emily woke up in the early hours of the morning, and she knew she needed to break the most sacred of our family's rules. Emily tiptoed to the fridge in the garage and as quietly as possible cracked open a cool and refreshing Coke. Remember this, Em? She brought the treat back to where she slept and spent the next few minutes enjoying the sweet taste of cola as she basked in her sneakiness. It really was the perfect crime, if only she could have stayed awake long enough to dispose of the evidence. Emily dozed off with a Coke can sitting perfectly by her head. A few hours later, I awoke to Mom's screams as she had discovered Emily's treachery. The gig was up and Em was caught. She would pay the price for this latest act of evil. As I stretched and yawned, I felt pride knowing that, as per usual, I was the good kid. The one who obeyed the rules willfully and would never dream of doing something so disrespectful. Unfortunately for me, I did not realize the lengths that Em would go to in an effort to ruin my good standing in the family. She wouldn't accept that she was caught. With tears in her eyes, she explained to Mom that she'd been framed. Emily's alibi, this all happened. Emily's alibi was quite simple. Nick drank the Coke, and then he planted the evidence on me to get me in trouble. As I listened to this ridiculous explanation, I fully expected Mom to laugh at such a ludicrous notion. But I did not realize that those same evil traits that Emily possessed had been given to her at birth by her mother. Mom proposed a simple solution. each of us would be punished until one of us admitted fault. At this point, you would think Em would fess up. She had nothing to gain from keeping the story up, as she was set to be punished regardless. But she would not relent. If she was going to feel the pain of punishment, she was going to relish in the joy of knowing I shared in that pain. Mom instructed each of us to come upstairs to learn our fate, and as we climbed the stairs together, I begged her to come clean. But she looked at me with those evil eyes and a smirk on her face and said, "The only way one of us doesn't go down for this is if you take the blame, Nick." I was older, I don't know. I replied to her, "You know I didn't drink that Coke." Emily smirked with an evil grin and said, "I know you didn't, but Mom doesn't." As we entered the top floor of the house, Mom informed us that we would get the standard punishment that usually accompanied a child being naughty in our house. Each of us would have to be beaten without mercy. I will spare everyone here the gruesome details of what happened next. But just know this, the only thing more painful than the snap of a belt against my backside was the look of joy in Emily's face each time that belt connected. To this day, I flinch every time someone cracks open a Coke. For years, I would set my alarm every night and go clean candy wrappers and soda cans from around Emily's head to ensure I would not have to suffer through this again. You guys have been holding that long enough, so I'll pick it up. The point here is simple, Aaron. Don't ever trust that Emily won't blame you for her mistakes. And just know that every time you experience pain throughout the rest of your life, Emily will take some sort of sick joy in it. Now that we've covered all of Emily's major flaws, I should mention that Emily also has some endearing qualities. One thing Emily has going for her is is an amazing, adventurous, thoughtful, intelligent, and charming brother. Now that I've allowed myself to get a little sappy towards the end there, it seems like a good time to transition into vows. What a segue, huh? Emily has prepared vows for Aaron's kids. Emily, you're up.
Trevin Dylan Kenna. I promise always to treat you with love and respect. I promise to foster my relationship with you and always be there for you in any way that I can. I promise to support you in your relationship with both your mother and father, and I promise always to listen to you, strengthening our relationship as time moves forward. I promise to always treat your father with love and respect and model for you a healthy, loving, and supportive relationship in the belief that you too will have such happiness and love. I love you.
My turn?
I kind of feel like you ruined the mood that I had going. All right, Aaron. Aaron has also prepared vows for Emily's kids. So Aaron's vows for Jackson and Casey.
Sorry, they're on my phone. Over here, buddy.
I'll see them in the choice.
I gotta scroll down here. Casey and Jackson. I know you were weird because of your mom. And I love that about you. Stop being weird for just a minute. Please. You're both amazing kids. I can't wait to see what you grow up to be. I feel blessed to be a part of your lives. I promise to help you and guide you along the way. I promise to always be your robot, Casey, so you can show your love for me. I will answer all of your questions, probably sarcastically and wrong. I will be there for you, even if you don't want me to be, Casey. I love you guys, and someday I hope you will love me too.
Aaron, that was beautiful. All right, now Emily and Aaron have also prepared vows for each other. So Emily, your vows for Aaron.
Aaron, you are not only my partner and lover, sorry guys. You are one of my very best friends. You make me feel like I can be exactly who I am, and you love me for me. I'm so excited for what the future holds and can't wait to laugh our way through life. You are also always so supportive of everything I try to do and always so quick to tell me how proud you are of me. Thank you for loving my kids and always being there for them, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of your children's lives. You came into my life during a time that I thought I would never get through. You made me feel like me again, and you were patient and let me grieve for a love that I had lost, even when we were finding a new love together. You accepted that that was a part of me and loved me anyway. I could try to tell you or show you, but you will never know how grateful I am that you love me when I wasn't entirely sure who me was anymore. Love is not a big enough word to describe how I feel about you. I don't know any word that is as big or grand enough for my feelings for you. I vow to love you every moment I have left in my life, to be honest even when you don't like it, and to always look for the positive in every situation. I vow to be your best friend and your biggest supporter. I vow to always fight for our relationship, to love you more with every passing day, and to laugh with you forever. I vow to be your calm in a storm, a light in the darkness, and the place that you call home. I love you.
Honey. How do you follow that? I know. I love you, honey. Fine. First of all, Nick, thank you for officiating and helping us celebrate our lives together. And also, thanks for writing my vows for me. It's a little weird that you wrote this stuff about your sister, but let's go. Honey, you are the kindest. What? God. Sorry. Yes. You are the kindest, most positive, caring, and generous person I know. And I love that about you. You are amazing and beautiful in every way. And very good at making lists. And I love that about you. You're always around to squash spiders real good for you. And I love that about you. You make me smile every day. You make me laugh. You make me cry. But I'm a bit of a crybaby. I love that about you. You're also pretty easy on the eyes. I love that about you. I feel blessed to walk through our new lives together with you. It's our lives, I guess, right? I promise to honor you, to cherish you, and to love you. I promise to stand beside you, to protect you, to kiss you goodnight, even when you're mad at me for something stupid. Through good times, through bad, through sickness and in health, from now until eternity. I will love you forever and ever. Amen. I like to kiss her yet. I know. Cheer 'em up.
All right, here we go. All right, honestly, I'll be a little more serious. Good God. All right, I'll be more serious this time around. Honestly, a lot of you guys know this. I've always been very protective of my sisters. And to be completely honest, I wasn't that wild about the situation when I found out that these two were dating. Of course, Emily didn't care what I thought, and that's good. Because since I've gotten to know Aaron over the last couple of years, I've enjoyed him being a part of our family. Aaron's a lot of fun. He always makes me laugh. He's done some crazy things around our family that we've all enjoyed. He's danced with Dad. That was something to see. He's drank with us all night. Well, actually, Aaron never makes it to the end of the night, but he's drank with us. He always finds a way to say something completely inappropriate at our family functions, which me and my uncles appreciate, so thanks for that, Aaron. Honestly, Aaron's a great guy to have around, but the thing I like the most about Aaron is that he loves Emily and he's dedicated to her and her kids. In all seriousness, I realize that my 3 minutes of becoming ordained doesn't make me an expert on much of anything, but I've been married a while, and I have a few opinions on what it takes to make a marriage work. Aaron and Emily, you have a great relationship, and many of the things I'm about to mention you already have whipped, but regardless, I'll offer a few thoughts anyways. In my opinion, I think the key to a successful marriage is like everything else in life. It takes a lot of work. The most rewarding things in this life are generally the hardest to achieve, and marriage is no exception. Many people have made it to the point you guys are at today, but far fewer make it to the finish line. The problem is that marriage is not all that exciting. Today is really the last chapter in the exciting part of your relationship. Honestly. It is. Andrea, you're bored out of your mind, right? When you find yourself interested in someone, it's exciting. When you go on the first date, it's exciting. When you move in together, the proposal, the wedding, these are all relationship milestones that happen one right after the other. When all that's over, it's just you and the other person. How many times have you watched a movie about dating? Probably hundreds. Or seen a movie where there's a scene of a proposal or the wedding itself? Again, probably hundreds. But how many movies have you seen on the 5th, the 10th, or the 20th year of marriage? Not many. Why? Because that's not the exciting part. And we all know that living happily ever after is just a fantasy and a lazy way to skip what's the boring part of a relationship. There's a reason that the movies don't go into this thing, and that's because it's the work that is marriage. As I said, the grind of being married is where problems can start, where reality can sometimes not meet up to expectation, and where relationships can fall apart. I'll say it again, marriage is work, and it's easy to just give up on it. Aaron and Emily said their vows and they've made their promises, but the biggest promise that they can make, which they've made today, and the one that will make their marriage endure, is to never give up on each other. Lots of people vow to stick through thick and thin, in sickness and in health, and for better or worse. But as is always the case, talking about doing something is much easier than actually doing it. I know my sister and I know Aaron, and these two have shown